Hello, folks. Welcome back to our channel, and today I'm going to be reviewing another episode of Medium. And today I'm going to be reviewing the sixth episode of the fifth season called Apocalypse Now. Apocalypse Now, indeed. The episode was directed by Larry Tang and written by Michael Norducci. And the episode originally aired on March 9th, 2009. So in this episode, as suggested by the title, Allison believes that the end of the world is basically very near. It's looming ahead after, I believe, a series of earthquakes shake the city of Phoenix. She becomes scared and a little paranoid, and she starts believing that the right solution is to basically get prepared, right? So, what she decides to do is she decides to buy a lot of supplies in order to, in case the worst comes to pass, such as, I believe, chocolate bars and, a lot of food and things one would need in such a situation, right? So basically, she goes to that man, to that guy who believes that you got to be prepared, and he sells her a few things, and she tells him about her fears and so on, and basically, yes, this is how she ends up finding out that the best thing is to be prepared. And basically, I didn't mention it, but at the very beginning of the episode, she has that very scary dream in which basically her husband is trying his level best to protect his family, and she sees the whole city of Phoenix being destroyed. It's all destroyed, right? It's like it's everything is falling apart. It's like a bomb just went off, and yeah, this is how she believes. She ends up finding out that the best thing to do is to be prepared for this. I said prepared a lot, didn't I? I'm sorry about this. It's just how it is. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. And she believes that yes, there is a man who is going to survive, who is going to survive this apocalypse, and he's the man who can actually help her. She believes. So he's the man she turns to for help. So I guess that's the main storyline. And the side story in this episode is about Ariel, who basically is going to be asked out by an upper class man who is basically asking her for help for her homework for sorry about that. Who's this boy who asked Ariel out on a date. It turns out that he needed her help with some geometry assignment to basically not to flunk it, so he turns to her for help for geometry. So I guess that's pretty much it for this episode, really. I'm trying to find out anything more I could be mentioning, but I believe that this is the main plot of the episode. So, what do I think about this episode? I thought this episode was pretty good. It had that really kind of vibe you get from these movies, such as I Am Legend, and the whole movies with the apocalypse thing. I believe Apocalypse Now is the title of a movie. So yeah, maybe check it out. I haven't watched it, so I can tell if this episode is somehow similar to it. But this episode felt really good and really scary, and it hit close to home because earthquakes are sadly a real thing, and they're happening all over the world. So yeah, it reminded us that you know we should always be careful. We should always be prepared, right? Without being too extreme, of course, right? So this guy, he basically, I didn't mention it, but there's this man Allison turns to for help, has that sort of a panic room in which he basically resides in her dreams at least to be protected. But then Allison finds out that this guy is hiding a secret, right? And there's that girl who is basically kept somewhere against her will. So this is basically it for this episode. Maybe we should just move on to the characters, the actors. So we have the main ones, not much to tell. They're great. And then we have David Warshawski. David Warshawski, who plays Russell Burgess. Then we have Vanessa Lenges, who plays Zoe Lehman. Then we have Cody Anthony, who plays Gavin Coley. Then we have Matt Kaminsky, who plays Mr. Walsh. Then we have Anna Mary Kenoyer, who plays Ashley Whittaker. Jim Cantafio, who plays Mr. Donlan. Madison and Miranda Curbelo, who play Marie. Marky Ann Mayer, who plays Sarah Donlan. Aurelius DiBorsanti, who plays Crime Scene Tech. And last but not least, Sonny Skozari, who plays high school student. So them did a pretty great job, and my favorite one is David Warshawski in this episode. He's the one who Allison is going to turn to for help. And Russell Burgess, that's his character. And basically, he's the one who basically warns Allison and tells her to be careful and that being prepared in case the worst comes to pass is always the thing to do, the best thing to do. So I believe that's pretty much it for this episode, really. I really like the whole apocalypse plot, like these movies, as I mentioned, how they're called, these post-apocalyptic movies. It reminded me a lot of those because this episode had that same vibe, that same atmosphere, right? So I thought this episode was pretty good, and I did enjoy it, and I really liked it. The side story with Ariel and her date. I mean, not her date really, but her boyfriend. Not even her boyfriend, but let's say the guy she wanted to go out with, and who wanted to go out with her. I thought that was a nice side story, in a way, but the main storyline in this episode was pretty good. So if I were to rate this episode on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd probably give it an 8.5 out of 10. I believe it was pretty good. It's not the best episode in the show, but it did pull its weight. It did make sense. So I'd give it a 8.5 out of 10. I believe it was nice for what it was. It made sense, and the whole storyline, the whole plot, as it develops, made a lot of sense. So I'd give it an 8. Sorry about that. So I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10. What about you, folks? What did you think about this episode? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comment section down below. I would really love to hear any thoughts you might have on it, and let me know about your favorite season of the show too, if you'd be so kind. Your favorite episode of the season, maybe, and which episode did you like the most? Your favorite episode of the season as well. I would really love to hear about all that. And it's so much fun to review these episodes because this show is my favorite one. And it's a lot of fun, really. It's a nice ride. So now we're on season 5, and God willing, we're gonna get to season 6 pretty soon because this season is pretty short. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next review for another episode review, God willing. And in the meantime, folks, stay safe. Goodbye, and take care of yourselves. This whole channel for you. signing off.